me tell you about a friend. It's Craig LeBlanc where the good times never end. Talking Parks and Rec, it's a show you gotta know. Welcome one and all to the Daily Parks and Rec Show. It's the Daily Parks and Rec Show.
Something as long as we are establishing, we had to be willing to try these different things, these new programs. I think one of the misnomers about this is parks are never gonna make money. Parks have a wonderful benefit as far as the beautification of a city, as far as property values in a city, as far as quality of life in a city. But it's not necessarily a tangible, direct dollar for dollar. You're gonna spend a lot on this. But having these new playgrounds in the parks that are safe, up to standards, have completely appropriate surfacing underneath them, and then are accessible.
Welcome back to the Leadership Series on the Daily Parks and Rec Show. Today, we're taking you inside a powerful story from Collinsville, Illinois, where two leaders helped rebuild an entire Parks and Recreation department from the ground up. We're joined by Kimberly, the Parks and Rec Director with over 2 decades of experience, and Jared, the Superintendent, who started his career mowing fields and is now helping lead a thriving system. Together, they share how they inherited neglected parks, outdated playgrounds, and even a farm and water park. Then transform those challenges into opportunities. From tackling deferred maintenance and embracing sustainability with native plants and biochar, to creating new community programs and navigating financial uncertainty, this is a story of teamwork, resilience, and vision. If you've ever wondered what it takes to lead through chaos and build something lasting, this episode is for you. Let's dive in. All right, we are live again. This is Craig LeBlanc, the doorman with the Daily Parks and Rec Show. I have 2 guests from the great state of Illinois. It's Collinsville. Am I pronouncing that correctly?
Yes.
And it's Kimberly and Jared. Jared's the superintendent over in Collinsville, and Kimberly has been the Park and Rec director there for, did I write this down right? For 24 years you've been in Parks and Rec, or just with Collinsville?
In Collinsville, I've been here almost 8 years.
Okay. And then, per usual, let's go ahead and click the show off with our big thank you to everyone that's helped us get this far. Where this is our 230th episode, but we made a thank you promo just celebrating our 200th episode, and now we're about a third of the way there to get to our 300th episode, and we just recently crossed 1,400 followers on LinkedIn, so that was a little bit of a milestone for us. So anyway, this is a big thank you from us to you. We'll play this and then we'll be right back. From a simple mic in a rec center to a full-scale media company for the people who power our parks. 200 real stories, 5 original shows, and more to come, with one powerful mission: to lift up the voices of Parks and Rec professionals across the country. From maintenance crews and young interns and youths who love sports, to directors and public servants making a difference. We've built a platform that honors the unsung heroes behind every clean trail, every weekend tournament, every safe, welcoming park. This milestone isn't just about the content, it's about the people, the passion, the purpose. To every guest, listener, and supporter, thank you. The next chapter starts today. This is DPRS Media Co. Media for public service. All right, so our next promotion goes out to all of our strategic partners that have been wanting to work with us to help co-create content. We're at the phase in DPRS Media Co. where we're now accepting and even looking for strategic partners that want to help us create specific content for the industry of parks and recreation in all the different nuanced channels like we would want to create one for urban forestry, for aquatics, for master planning. And these are different masteries that vendors have been serving Parks and Rec community for decades in that capacity. And so our next phase is to co-create shows with vendors for the industry. And so if this is something that interests you, we made a little promo for that. And so we'll play this and then we'll come right back with Kimberly and Jared.
At DPRS Media Co., we believe Parks and Recreation isn't just a service, it's the heartbeat of our communities. We exist to honor the people, the vendors, and the leaders shaping the future of Parks and Rec. Our mission is simple: to tell their stories, highlight their careers, and celebrate their essential work. Our vision is bold: to be the trusted hub where leaders, vendors, and communities unite, inspiring innovation, sharing wisdom, and building a stronger, healthier nation. Through over 220 live shows and 6 weekly series, the Leadership Series, Facility Maintenance, Young Professionals Network, Youth Sports Mastery, The Rec Room, and Growing Leaders, plus our industry-leading newsletter, the weekly Parks and Rec Post, we're building a media platform made for the Parks and Rec community. And now, we're inviting strategic partners to co-create this story with us. As a partner, you'll gain 12 hours of annual live exposure with custom shows highlighting your expertise, polished 60-second promos refined for maximum impact, year-round visibility with dozens of replays across our media network, premium features in our newsletter, and amplified social media reach across LinkedIn, X, and Facebook. This is your chance to educate, inspire, and lead while connecting directly with the professionals who build, budget, and buy for their communities. This is DPRS Media Co. Let's build the future of Parks and Rec together.
All right. So, and a little bit of homework for all my Parks and Rec professionals. If is a vendor that has been serving you well for several decades, please help me get in touch with them, because we want to work with the people that are already here doing a good job helping Parks and Rec professionals provide the services they do for their community. Okay. So we have Kimberly and Jared. Kimberly, why don't you go first and tell us just a little bit about your background, how you got into Parks and Recreation, and then Jared, you can do the same after her.
Not completely intentional, which I think a lot of Park and Rec people do. I attended the University of Wisconsin in Madison and tried my hand at a few different majors in my undergraduate studies, and ended up in the Department of Natural Resources for Recreation Management and Conservation Biology, thinking I would do like state parks and that kind of thing. And then my first job opportunity came about in municipal Park and Rec, and I've stuck with it for those last 24-ish years. So, I mean, it's not exciting, it's not sexy, but it seems to be what fits me better, a lot better than like natural resources and parks, like state parks. I wouldn't have been great at that.
Yeah, fantastic. And Jared, how about yourself? Did you know about Parks and Recreation early on in life, or you discovered it later, or how did you come into it?
I discovered it later. My story is a little bit more boring than Kimberly's.
Mine was pretty boring, man.
I didn't have a direction where I want to go when I got out of high school, and I ended up landing a job with the city of Ferguson back in 2005 or 6, and that kind of opened my eyes to a lot of stuff. So we did it. We were street department and parks department, so we did all the work, and the park side really got my attention, and I paid a lot more attention to what needed to be done, and kind of tricks of the trade. And so it just blossomed from there.
And what were some of the things that caught your attention?
It was, so growing up, the house we lived in, there was a St. Louis County park right behind our house. Mm-hmm. So as a kid, I would watch them. I would watch them mow, set ball fields, mess with the playground. Whether back then it was sand for the playground, no surfacing or mulch, it was sand. So I'd watch them do things like that. And I just, for some reason, it just interested me. So when I got into municipal work, I realized, oh, I'm that guy now. I can do it. So I could really, set a ball field and just understand how really what is involved with everything with it. It's just not showing up and putting some chalk down or paint. It's just there's some prep to it. So knowing the behind the scenes stuff and instant satisfaction when you get the job done, that's what really got me.
And how long have you been with Collinsville?
Almost 8 years.
So y'all kind of came in around the same time?
Yeah. So Collinsville has its unique story in that it was served by a park. It was served by a recreation district. And then in 2017, the district board voted to, I think it was 2017 because we started in 18, but they voted to like dismantle the entire governmental structure that was the district. And so with that, they had intergovernmental agreements with the different communities that they were serving, and did a new intergovernmental agreement that said all the parks will focus on Collinsville because that's where we are. All the parks within the municipal boundaries of Collinsville will go back to Collinsville. And then the city itself was going to start a park and recreation department. And so late 2017 is when I interviewed, and then I started in January of 2018. And Jared, along with two of our crew members, were our first two full-time hires besides myself in the department. So Jared and I have worked together to build this department. I'd say from the ground up, but I mean, we had parks, they just hadn't been taken care of or loved in a very long time.
And what were some of the things that y'all kind of walked into as far as when you say unloved parks and rec? Maybe define that from a deferred maintenance standpoint, the funding, what or even programming. What were y'all facing in those early days?
From my point of view, it was the grounds were atrocious. It was invasives everywhere. Every park was full of honeysuckle and just anything you can think of. Euonymus, even the ball fields where you couldn't see the bleachers. We had to clean up a whole lot of mess. And what made it harder was we didn't have any tools or equipment. So we had to really hustle to get the supplies we needed and materials to make things better.
Yeah.
The first time Jared's crew ran a mower, the wheels fell off.
That's
For real.
That's a great story, though. At least you get to carry that with you. What about the buildings? Maybe how many parks, how many playgrounds, any buildings involved?
All right. So that, at first, like restrooms in the parks, those kind of buildings, but not like an actual office facility, not an actual maintenance facility, because the district that went defunct covered more than just the city of Collinsville. It covered the neighboring communities as well. And the really nice maintenance facility, it was just across the municipal boundary. So a different entity inherited that. So when we started, it was what they call them, like the primary parks in the community, and established, recreation programs for the community. And the district had been slowly declining, and so the programming offerings were going down. Those which were still active, we inherited some of those. Like we've got a karate program, but that wasn't all in the beginning either. About 3 months, about the time that Jared came on board, it was decided that there's a working farm, a historical farm in our community that was run by the district, and that was now going to be handed over to the city, as well as a water park. So
nice.
Which wasn't what we were planning on initially. It was just supposed to be the park side of things and the recreation side of things. So then we got into aquatics and, now a municipal run farm.
Jared, did you have to up your skills in running a farm or an aquatic center at that point, or whose baby was that?
Well, I learned, yes, for sure, but there are other people in place now that help. At the farm we have, her name is Carol. She's been there from the beginning of the farm. So, the city kept her on board, and she's worked well with all of us. And in the aquatics, we have someone in place, a superintendent for aquatics, and I help out as much as I can. I have definitely learned a lot from it, but I kind of lean on them to really get the job done.
Yeah. I'm curious. So is it like a community farm where you have like public orchard or something, or is it just like something you lease out? Or describe the farm to me, and how many acres and what does it do?
It's over, I should know this off the top of my head.
It's 40 acres. Yeah, 42 acres of it.
42 acres of farm. A lot of it is in the bluffs. Where we're located in Illinois is right along the Mississippi River, near St. Louis. So we've got trails that go in the bluff area. There's prairie area that is in a conservation reserve. And then we have animals. I wouldn't call it a petting zoo, but it's kind of like a petting zoo. We have chickens and goats and a pig.
Yeah, 2 pigs, many rabbits, cows, many horses, donkeys, and a bunch of barn cats too.
We have a community garden that Illinois Extension Office, master gardeners, volunteers get their volunteer hours in, and then all of that produce that gets produced there, that gets grown there, gets donated to the local food pantry. So the farm is, I mean, it's really pretty great. And Carol does a wonderful job with it. Really forward thinking as far as like sustainability and reusing. Like what am I trying to say here, Jared? As far as
what the reuse, recycle, replant. She has compost bins, and she's been real big on the biochar aspect of things. And me and her have been working together when it comes to biochar for our plantings throughout the whole city, because we don't maintain just the parks for the city, we maintain other areas of the city. So we're just kind of citywide municipal areas, whether it be vacant lots or city hall, things like that. So with all of our tree plantings or native plantings, whatever we're doing, we kind of incorporate a little bit of biochar with all that. And Carol's been huge when it comes to that.
Now, for those that don't know, can you explain what biochar is and how it works?
I can do my best.
You'll probably do better than us, or than I can explain it. I've seen it. The only exposure I had to it, that the whole Brazilian rainforest was built on the biochar from the ancient Aztecs or something, and that was I saw one little documentary on it. That was it.
I really can't. I don't know the ins and outs really that well, but it is more of it's a burned wood is what it is. You burn it in a certain kiln to where the airflow is kind of restricted to where it just generates a certain type of, I don't know if it's a mineral, but it just helps with your ground. It helps reestablish your soil and really produces, it's better than fertilizer, really produces great growth out of your plantings. It doesn't matter what your plantings are, it's really going to help. So I've noticed it with trees that I planted, where the growth rate is almost double. I'll get a spruce tree that's 10 feet tall, and within 2 years, it's almost 20 feet tall, when that's not the growth rate for it, normal growth rate for it. But we put a little bit of biochar. It's to the point where there's actually in one of our parks, we're creating another no-mow zone with a prairie restoration. And the compost I just got for it from a company is called Superchar, where it's 10% biochar, 90%, what they call it, black gold compost. And I'm pretty excited about it. We just installed it yesterday, and this point next year, I want to see where we're at as far as what's been established and whatnot. I think it's going to be very productive on it.
Yeah, and then I guess you could also explain, and I don't know if either one of you know about the no-grow prairie grass. I actually saw that at a Parks and Rec convention in Arkansas. They actually took us on a tour of like 400 acres of this stuff, and all the biodiversity comes along with it, and you never have to mow it versus having to constantly chase these weeds pretty much that grow if you don't have prairie grass. But could you explain to everyone what that is?
Well, I'm a big fan of it. It can go at different angles. You can look at it different angles as far as you don't have to put as much emissions in the air from the weed eaters or from the mowers, and you save on hours on putting on your machines, things like that. But it is great for sustainability in the ecosystem. We go through certain companies out of Wisconsin where we get our plants from, but we try to make it the best fit for each area. So in the park we're talking about, Glidden Park, it's a lot of land, a lot of just unused space, but it's grass. So we've been mowing it for the first 5+ years till now. We decided we should just create prairie land out of it. It'll help the ecosystem, all the critters in the winter when they need to find a habitat, and it also saves time on labor and machinery we don't have to spend. So it's like it helps across the board. It's like a full circle type.
Yeah. Now let's talk about the kind of the finances that y'all inherited, because I know were y'all around to even know, or were there any stories to be told as to how the park system got into a troubled financial situation?
We've heard like second and third hand, but we weren't. We were in different communities doing our respective jobs there. So we've heard, the aftermath of it. But when the city inherited all these facilities, and there was no money exchanged in that. We didn't pay to acquire any of this stuff. It was just, from one governmental entity to another governmental entity. So there wasn't like a huge capital outlay in the beginning, but what we did inherit was a lot of deferred maintenance and lack of vehicles, lack of equipment, lack of staff, lack of small tools, all of that stuff. And that was the operating side of things. And then capital side of things, like all the playgrounds were outdated. One of the playgrounds, like Jared mentioned earlier, still had sand underneath it. So that one was the first one to go. But I mean, picnic tables, garbage cans, all your smaller amenities, nothing was in good shape. It just wasn't. So the city did their best to estimate on a budget, what we do in operating, and we weren't close. We weren't close at all. So that, in the beginning, it was kind of like we never really had a normal year. We were making it up as we went. Do we have enough staff? But then, throw a farm in the mix and throw a water park in the mix. And so it's, for a while there, our operating budget was a moving target. Yeah.
How long did it take y'all to run out of operating budgets? Y'all like go 9 months
So
in?
5 years, the city finally said, like, whoa, like we can't keep spending like this. Like, it doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
The pandemic really threw, like, nobody really knew
wow.
what was going to happen during that. So
Yeah.
I would say there were good and bad that came out of that as far as our department goes. Like, bad because we couldn't do any capital spending. So all these big projects that we knew needed to happen, we weren't sure where funding was going to come from. So everything went on pause. But as far as like the smaller things like recreation programs, we didn't have any traditional or standard programs that were really happening. So we were able to pivot hard and fast because we were creating new. Like, everything that we were doing was new and innovative, and now we have these restrictions to deal with. So the creativity had to come from that. And I would say that was one of the things that came from that pandemic, and us being able to do that was it really set us apart, because trying to say, like, we're not this old entity, we are this new entity. We sound the same, we're operating the same, parks. We now occupy the activity center that came along with, the water park and where our offices are and everything, but we're not. And being able to pivot hard and meet the needs of these people, plus I think really set us apart. And then also the pandemic was a boost for parks. People, I think, started appreciating the value of this public space where they were able to go, and with the social distancing and everything, like the inside stuff, the gathering places couldn't happen anymore. But in a park, you still were outside, you still had that ability to space yourselves out. And I think the parks really gained some traction in that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so I think there's enough park systems in America. I mean, I don't even know the percentage, but let's just go with a 5% find themselves in some version of uncertainty, bankruptcy, budget cuts. How if you can remember back in those days, if you could maybe give someone a roadmap to lead in uncertain times where you just don't even know who you are, you don't know what your budget is, this has never been built before, or we just came out of bankruptcy. Like, how did you lead those first few years, your team, through this chaos and uncertainty? And how could you maybe advise someone finding themselves currently in that situation?
We are, and I mean, Jared and I are two of the people that are involved in our team, but we're very team-based approach. So, we work together and we do as much as we can to help each other. And so I'm just leaning on each other and being able and willing to try, and even willing to fail. I think our first city manager, when we were here, used the term fail forward. Like, as long as we're doing something, as long as we are establishing, we had to be willing to try these different things, these new programs, and maybe not recoup our costs on it, but either gain traction or gather momentum or get our name out there enough where people would find confidence in us. I think one of the misnomers about this is, like, parks are never gonna make money. Like, parks have a wonderful benefit as far as like beautification of a city, as far as property values in a city, as far as quality of life in a city. But it's not necessarily a tangible, direct dollar for dollar. You're going to spend a lot on this. We're not going to stand out there and say, like, okay, if you're going to play on the playground, it's $5 here. But playgrounds are expensive. They really are. Having these new playgrounds in the parks that are safe, up to standards, have completely appropriate surfacing underneath them, and then are accessible as well. Just cleaning that up and making that difference. People have flock back to one park we focused on in the beginning. Its name is Woodland Park, but people have come back to that park. We've really done a nice job with that one, and we know we have a ton of work to do in all the other parks as well.
Now, what were some of the kind of creative things y'all did for, maybe it was just cost savings? You know, you can use like the prairie grass example of how we're spending all this money, but if we do it this way, we don't have to spend as much money. As an example, are there other examples like that that y'all use to try to do more with less, or along the way?
Well, like you said, the prairie grass and planting native plants, we put native plants everywhere. We used to do perennials or annuals. This time of year, fall season, we'll still do like mums everywhere, but for the most part, everywhere throughout the city is native everything. So
which need a lot less maintenance, I think, is the thought behind that, correct?
A lot less maintenance, a lot less, just, you don't have to keep budgeting for plants every year. I mean, once you put them in, we get them established, we're good to go. We thin them out here and there, or sometimes we even transplant. If we get too much in there, we transplant to a different area. It's to the point now where when we do transplant, we're out of landscape areas. We'll just put them in the parks and just let some stuff grow, just for more on hillsides, just for appearance, you know, just to make it look better. And we've started our approach with more battery powered equipment. We started mostly with smaller tools like chainsaws or weed eaters and blowers. I do have one mower, stand-on mower, that's battery powered, but that, you know, saves on your fuel and emissions and everything that comes along with that. When we know it's, so far we even have I believe a gator that's battery powered, and so that's, so far it's been working out for us. Yeah.
One big example from that too, that from what Jared was talking about, was we were going through our capital project outlay from the beginning, and we were able to take irrigation in some of the pocket parks out because he's gone with native plants and naturalization. We don't need to water them, and that saves on all those operational costs and all those other costs, well, capital costs to install it and then to fix it as well. So that was, I mean, that was just a huge like light bulb moment. Like, Jared, what you're doing it's working.
It's also some of the, we've gotten rid of a lot of mulch. We still use quite a bit of mulch, but certain areas we can use rock, and so that's a one and done. Once you put it in there, we're kind of done with that. So it saves on a lot of labor and money on mulch as well. So once we, you know, it's just kind of easier that way. It looks better in most cases.
Yeah, rocks have a pretty good shelf life too. They're here to stay. So what is any other technology gains similar to, or how do y'all incorporate technology? Have y'all started in any of the autonomous sprayers or mowers, or just battery powered or something like that?
Glad you asked, Craig. That's something I'm looking into. Yes, we do have we call it the robot. It's a little green robot for field painting, our baseball, potentially football field. I call it Yoshi, but it's the turf tank, and it's been really helpful for us. It gives the guys, because we don't have very many guys that handle our ball fields. We have, at the complex, we have 12 of them, and only really 2 guys that maintain that area. And it's a lot for them to do. So now with this autonomous machine out there, it can help them stripe the field while they're working on other projects. And I had some demos come out as far as autonomous mower recently. I didn't think it was going to do a great job, but it impressed me. It really kind of struck a chord where, okay, I think this can be useful down here at the fields. And so it's just something I'm looking forward to. I think it's one of those projects that's kind of new. So I want all the kinks to be worked out before we start, a little bit more.
I'll have to look up the episode and get it to you. It was Kim Bybee and I think Richard over in Carrollton, Texas. I want to say they have 20 autonomous robots working in their community. Really? A couple 100,000 people right outside of Dallas. But I would say they're probably leading the charge. I think they have 7 of those sprayers like you have. And then they have, I think, 8 or 9 autonomous lawnmowers. And then Kim went and trained herself as a pilot for this quadcopter. And I thought when she was explaining it, like it was small. It has a 150-pound payload and it's 10 foot long.
What?
And it sprays fertilizers, it identifies weed, sprays the individual stuff. And so all that's rolling out. Wow. And I can actually probably help get y'all in touch with Kim because she loves talking about it, and they love being on the forefront but I would say they're probably easily top 5 autonomous Parks and Rec departments in America.
We're going to have to up the training budget if you're going to be a pilot, Jared.
Okay.
And wouldn't that be cool too? And it uses like facial recognition to identify unwanted weeds, and it sprays that one plant. It doesn't waste all the fertilizer and pesticides like the other. So I mean, a lot of the great stuff's coming out. It just allows you to do more with less. And then they had a full electric fleet. I think they bought an electric truck and all electric mowers and weed eaters, and they just call it the electric team or something. So I think they have one team like that.
It's very interesting how the products that are coming out that you can use, and like I said, we're kind of, I guess you want to say, experimenting with what we have because it's really new for us. And so far, I'm liking it.
Yeah. Yeah, in the early days, the battery tech just wasn't there. The batteries would just run down so fast and they weren't powerful. But man, today you can have like full-on lawnmowers and weed eaters and blowers that just last for almost hours, and then just swap batteries and you're right back in it.
Yeah.
But so now, do y'all remember any of the actually, I'll go ahead and take a break before I go more into the financing. So let's say I'll play a promo for our Youth Sports Mastery show, which is coming on next right after this. So if you haven't seen, we have a Thursday show called Youth Sports Mastery at 1:30 p.m. Eastern every Thursday, hosted by Aaron Locks, who has 40 years in the industry, and he gets some of the best coaches, athletic directors to come on the show and just talk youth sports, especially at the community level in Parks and Rec. So tune in for that right after this show. And then after I play that, I'm going to play something for Jared. It's called the Facilities Maintenance Show, and we just finished the promo for it. So I'll play those two back to back.
Excellent.
At DPRS Media Co., we don't just create content. We elevate community through storytelling. Now, we're proud to introduce the newest addition to the family. Welcome to Youth Sports Mastery, the podcast where champions are shaped, not just on the field, but in life. Hosted by National Academy of Athletics founder Aaron Locks. Youth Sports Mastery dives deep into how youth sports can empower kids, strengthen communities, and build leaders. From coaching culture to recreation strategy, and from player development to parent impact, every episode brings game-ready insight from the people making it happen. Youth Sports Mastery goes live every Thursday at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Only on the Daily Parks and Rec Show, sponsored by National Academy of Athletics and powered by DPRS Media Co. This is where purpose meets play.
Behind every thriving park, every safe playground, every event-ready field, there's a team working before sunrise and long after sunset. This is Facility Maintenance, the only show created for and by the unsung heroes of Parks and Recreation. Brought to you by DPRS Media Co., where real work gets real recognition. From restrooms to rec centers, HVAC to turf tech, we go beyond the job site into the heart of operations that keep our communities moving. Our mission? To elevate maintenance teams through stories, solutions, and shared experience. Our vision? A world where every facility crew is seen, valued, and fully supported. Each episode features operators, innovators, and leaders, sharing tools, tech, and tactics that make the impossible look easy. Facility maintenance isn't just a job. It's purpose, it's passion, and now it's a show. Facility Maintenance, where tools meet purpose, where work becomes legacy.
Yeah, so early on, that was one of the inspirations to create this show, is that if we thought there wasn't much online for Parks and Rec professionals and directors, there was even infinitely less for people in maintenance of Parks and Rec. So we
find that in our professional groups too. Jared is spearheading like the maintenance side of things, getting people more connected and more involved so that they can share their stories and their successes back and forth, at least regionally right now.
Yeah, and so we're creating, and we've had quite a few episodes already, but it's a Monday through Thursday show, 10:30 a.m. It's kind of our morning show. So Jared, I'd love to have you on, and any other professionals that are on the maintenance side. And for those that are new to Parks and Rec, if you don't know, maintenance is easily half of the effort and man hour and money spent in Parks and Rec. Is just maintaining these facilities, updating them, project management. I'm not even sure if that counts setup and tear down for special events. What by y'all's guesstimate, what would it be as far as the on the maintenance side of Parks and Rec would be the expense manpower wise and financials?
I mean,
Go ahead.
bulk of our full-time staff is maintenance, right? I mean, between you and the crew.
Yeah. I mean, easily over 50%, 60, 70%. I mean, and like you said, it includes the tear up or setup and tear down of whatever event we have going on. And it's outside of the parks as well. The other departments call for help, people from the police department, fire department, city hall. They ask for our help in whatever the situation is, and we go help them. I mean, honestly, right before I jumped on this podcast, I was at City Hall helping them move boxes, something simple. So it was just, we're all over the place.
Yeah, and the three new buckets that I was kind of unaware of on the maintenance side was, I knew they were like mowing and blowing, cleaning bathrooms, cleaning floors, picking up stuff and trash, planting and stuff. But I didn't realize the workload on setup and tear down for special events, project management, and deferred maintenance. And that all sits under that same people that are cutting the grass. They also maybe don't get a Friday and a Monday to cut grass because they're setting up and tearing down for Saturday and Sunday events. And then that labor is just stripped away from the I guess, cleaning, maintaining side. Anything else that I'm not thinking of, Jared?
I mean, you pretty much got it. Our plan here is we have, our full-time guys and we have part-time guys, and we try to cross-train everybody, whether you're full-time or part-time. So when I have to take away some full-time to set up an event, we still have a couple of our part-time guys that can help keep up the maintaining of whatever mowing and we have going on. So it's works for us for now. Sometimes you just don't have that option, whether it be a call off or something like that. But it's just basically you hit everything on the head because to explain it.
Yeah.
I think people don't understand because the parks department, all you do is mow grass, and then what do you do in the wintertime when the grass isn't growing? And it's we do so much more than just mow grass. I mean, we know, but it's that letting other people outside of our profession know that how busy we can be and how much that we actually do, because some of the stuff that we do isn't glamorous, but it's good work and it's solid work, and it makes makes our parks far more enjoyable, and it brings people to our community. But our youth sports programs, setting the baseball fields and getting everything ready and the different dimensions, making sure our restrooms are clean, making sure there's not litter all over the park. All of those things come from maintenance. And then in the wintertime, we can finally try to catch up on deferred maintenance as far as our equipment and things go. But I mean, with the situation that we're in here, a lot of what we're doing is deferred maintenance. We have to make up for the last 10, 15 years that no capital projects were done in the majority of our parks. And I'd say in those first 5 years, we replaced at least 5 playgrounds. So that was a big deal. And that was one thing that we were pretty proud of that we did. But there's still a few that need to be updated. And these are, the better of the playgrounds, but they're still not good. Very outdated, and they've just lived their useful life. So deferred maintenance is kind of our mantra, and we started.
Yeah. And shout out to a friend of mine, Jeff Sanders. He works for Ascension Parish Parks and Rec. He's one of 3 project managers, and he was kind of, I think, venting to me a little, helping him with one project just that he needed some advice on. And he's like, I have 11 projects right now that I'm managing. I've got tennis court lights that we're doing, 2 bathrooms we're remodeling, a playground that's being a trail that we're putting solar lights on, and it's just 11, and they're short a project manager, and he just does full-time project management. But I know
11,
Now, who does project management for y'all? Y'all probably don't have a full-time project manager. Is that just Jared basically manages all the projects?
It's all of us. I have my share. Kimberly has her share, and I'm always going to her because I think she has a lot on her plate. So whatever project she's working on, I say, "You want me to take this for you?" And she gives me that evil look. And so I got to stay away.
There's something that like Jared is just far better at than me. Like he's going to understand equipment far better than me. So like when it comes to that, I lean on him heavy because like he's the one who's going to have to use them, he and his staff. And so we want to make sure that it's good equipment. It's the equipment that's going to serve them the best. And then the bigger projects we work together on them. And, you know, if it's farm stuff, it's more me and Carol, but we'll pull Jared in for his expertise there. If it's aquatic stuff, like we have the aquatics people involved with it. And then the rec side, we don't really have that many projects, but getting those involved with like field renovation, because our sports complex is one area that we haven't tackled yet. And so we're working on a master plan right now for that, to redo that facility.
Now, I'm glad you mentioned master planning. So with regards to master planning, I'm sure the thing you inherited had no resemblance of a master plan handed to y'all. So you probably just start from, did you put a master plan together, at least on a piece of paper, or did y'all hire a third party, or where?
We hired a third party.
Let's talk about
really
that.
nice outfit out of St. Louis helped us put together a master plan for our parks. And it was, you know, it was everything. We had to cover the whole park's basis. And so now, currently in this fiscal year, we're working on a specific master plan for just our sports complex and for the farm. Those two are more of our economic drivers, and we want to make sure that we're doing them right. But in generalities, in the beginning, it was, you know, we surveyed the community. What do you want from your park and rec department? What do you want from your city? Connectivity and trails were high on those lists. And then we did do, in the last couple of years, we put together a trail plan citywide. And so that's between community development, that department, between our public works department, and then parks department as far as recreation goes. And so we're kind of tackling that from 3 different fronts. So we have a master plan, and we've been trying to check those boxes, you know, get those projects that were identified in those plans, as well as grow into, you know, who we were going to become. And that was part of it too. Like, do we have enough staff wise? Do we have the right people in the right places? Are we, you know, what have we inherited, and what kind of condition is it in? So what do we need to be looking for as far as long-term and short-term planning and fiscal management, of course.
Jared, anything to add on the master plan front?
I've just kind of put in my 2 cents when they ask for it. You know, when it comes to ball fields, of course, I have my thoughts and ideas. So I give it to them, and I think they're going to do their best to incorporate everything that, you know, on our end, as far as material and where our shop will be located. Things as silly as having a pipe chase in the restrooms that we can actually get into, you know, things like that. That stuff we struggle with now in all of our bathrooms. So, you know, I just kind of look forward to completion of all of it.
Yeah. Now, unfortunately, and I've heard this from kind of Sevi Ghosh, he's one of our big contributors out of San Francisco, but he's been all over, teaches director school. And he said a lot of people, they'll spend a lot of time and energy and money on a master plan. And then after 6 months, it sits on a shelf and it stops becoming this living, breathing document that they just don't work the plan. They got the plan, they don't work the plan. And so where have y'all fallen in that? Has there been times where you like not followed the master plan, but then there's times where you do, and it's always better to work a plan? Or what are your thoughts on that, Kimberly?
We fall somewhere in the middle. Like, I would love to be able to just check down a list, because that's, you know, that's who I am, like done and done and done. But different priorities come up when we have to be reactive too. We have to do what the community is demanding of us. And so maybe, you know, back in 2019, when the plan was being formed, there was one thing that was a priority, and now something else has become a priority. So we haven't followed the plan to a T, but we do use it as a general guideline, which I need to get it back out during capital budgeting time to see, you know, where have we fallen short and what do we need to be doing. Last year was a push, you know, what about the last ones to the game in pickleball, but we finally put in pickleball courts, and that was a community push on that one. People wanted them. So we resurfaced a set of 3 tennis courts into 6 pickleball courts, and they've been a hit. But that's in one of the parks that hasn't gotten a lot of attention too. So now that's the restroom that Jared mentioned that we can't even fit in the pipe chase. That's going to have to come sooner rather than later, because these people who are using the pickleball courts don't have a decent restroom to use. So it's going to be that kind of reactive thing that's going to make us, you know, either follow the plan or not follow the plan. And then, I mean, it's been 5-6 years now. We might look at updating it. We can check off what we have done and move forward, maybe incorporating the sports complex master plan as it takes shape this year, as well as the Willoughby Farm master plan.
Yeah. Now, I do have on here urban forestry and turf management. Do y'all have an urban forestry, I don't know, plan or a tree inventory or the bucket truck, or what do y'all do as far as urban forestry on trees on public land?
We do have a tree inventory, and we update it as often as we can. I have a guy dedicated strictly for that. So where not just us in the parks, if we plant any tree anywhere, we document it on our software that we have, the city uses. And even if we plant, even with stumps, if we remove a tree and we don't stump grind it, it's mentioned in this, plan that we have, this inventory, that is still a stump there. We still need to get it out. Sometimes we use those stumps. If they're rotted out, we use them as placeholders for plants. We just put plants in there, and it kind of becomes something different for the people to look at. We take pictures by it. But yeah, I'm not sure. We're working on urban forestry. Carol's kind of with the farm. She's a big part of that as well. So we're working towards it. But right now we do have a tree inventory. Kimberly, is it citywide or just parks wide?
Well,
we do the parks.
I know the parks, and then like the public trees and a couple of the main thoroughfares. But it's not all the public trees, but it's a good chunk of them.
What software do y'all use to kind of track all that?
It's GIS. It's a GIS portal through CityWorks.
That's right. Okay. And we have a GIS department that helps set up that portal, and they help train our staff in order to, be able to document it in the parks on their own.
Yeah. Well, we are very close. I've actually got a good sponsor for an urban forestry show weekly. So I'd give us maybe another 30, 60 days, and we'll have a show weekly dedicated just to urban forestry that y'all could tune into, and maybe just as a developing urban forestry department in y'all's Parks and Rec department, you could come on and tell us what it's like to kind of give birth to an urban forestry department. Now, how about turf management? Is this something you've had to study up on, or something you had a background in, Jared or Kimberly?
Not me, it's him.
Well, I had to study up on it. I didn't have much of a background in it, but you know how it is with most people. If something interests you, you're going to start looking into it and following it and just reading up as much as you can, as much time allows for it. So yeah, I've been really going and diving in deep to it, and mostly at the sports complex. I like to keep it a certain way, but it's tough because we're on a water table, and we're not allowed to spray chemicals or do anything of that nature to combat any of the invasives or any of the weeds we try to get rid of. We have Bermuda, a lot of Bermuda down there, but man, it's taken over. It's just between crabgrass and Bermuda. I'm trying to revamp it all, but it's really tough for me to do. Yeah. So I'm just digging in deep. I do reach out to different resources, people that are more experienced in the field through all of our network. And Kimberly's got me involved with so many different organizations where it's just very helpful. So when I do reach out, it's to the point where I have people will take a day off work just to come help me out, see what we can do to help me out, whether it be a sales rep from a company or just a peer in the industry. So that's where I'm starting. All the turf, I would like for it to be better, and I just translate it over to all the rest of the parks.
Yeah. Well, and shout out to anyone in turf management as a vendor. That is one of the shows that we have been asked to create, but I just need to find people that's their area of expertise. I'm only a master electrician by trade many lifetimes ago, but I don't know anything about maintaining turf and stuff. So along with urban forestry, we want to create something for maintaining these sports fields, because it really is science and somewhat of an art form even to keep just the weeds at bay and looking great for that tournament that's in your backyard.
Jared's been lucky enough to tour like the soccer stadium in St. Louis and Busch Stadium in St. Louis to be able to see how they operate, so at the highest level of professional sports, and then be able to bring some of that, at least the ideas back to here, if not the budget.
And those are the people I reach out to who work for Busch Stadium, or they work at the soccer stadium. And these, even at one point, I had connections with the Pittsburgh Pirates crew and Baltimore Ravens, where I would call them. But the local guys, they'll come down and they'll come talk to us and try to help us out and see what's going on. The out-of-state guys, I'll send pictures or do video chats with them, and they can do the best, but they really need to be here. And that's whatever I've gotten from anybody has been extremely helpful.
Yeah. And now, is there like I know like in urban forestry, there's like an arborist and a master arborist. I'm sure there's some version of that for turf maintenance. Is there like a master groundskeeper? I know the golf course people have theirs as well.
There is the acronym for it. I don't know. I know for sports fields, it's Certified Sports Field Management, CSFM. And again, those are the same kind of guys that I reach out to. Those people I work, they're all certified in. It's more sports field, so it's the infield skin itself, or the artificial turf, or the natural turf. They're well versed in all of that. So yeah, the SFMA group, Sports Field Management Association, it's a national organization. That's a good resource right there for anybody interested in that field.
Let me type that in real quick. That's who I'm going to help. That's who I'm going to reach out to help me create that channel. If there's anybody that can do it, then what is it called?
SFMA, Sports Field Management Association. That's the national group, and then there's chapters all over the place. So I'm in the Gateway chapter, which is the St. Louis region. Illinois has its own chapter, but most of it is located up north, like towards Chicago. So when they have their events or any type of anything going on, it's 4 hours away. I can't really do that. But so if I'm in the Gateway chapter, which is St. Louis, it's a lot closer. I can reach out to those guys and get help, and they reach out to me. We scratch each other's back. It's a really good group. But the national chapter is SFMA.
Yeah,
there's some good reading on there.
Yeah, you're not gonna believe this. Which this goes out to everybody trying to create something from scratch. You're not gonna know everything. That I just realized as I typed it out that Miss Paula, who is sits on my board of advisors for the Daily Parks and Rec Show, just got elected the president of that association.
No kidding.
And it wasn't until I typed it out that I realized, wait, that's who Paula's working for now.
Yeah,
he told me last week in our conversation. So, okay, we're gonna get things rolling here with that.
There you go. You're welcome, by the way.
Thank you for showing me what was right in front of me. I probably just can't see the forest through the trees, as they say. Okay, so I have a thing I do at the end of every show is I'll ask each of you if you are standing in front of a classroom of high schoolers or college kids that don't really know what they want to do with their life. Maybe give a sales pitch to why you would want to spend your life in this industry and how it's been fulfilling for you. Who'd like to go first?
Jared.
Me?
Jared
Okay.
would like to go first.
I guess I will. Standing in front of a classroom. It's honestly, you're outside. A lot of people love to be outside. You are in the parks. You do get instant satisfaction as soon as you're done. You get to look at it and you feel good about yourself. If you're with a group of volunteers, you see the look on their face when they get their hands in the dirt and they realize, oh man, I did that. And you're just like, yep, that's all you. Be proud. Now they have a sense of ownership, and then they try to prevent any vandalism or damage to be done moving forward. And you also, if you like to have fun, which I think is everybody, this is fun. It really is fun because you can do silly things. When you set up a ball field, go ahead and run the bases a couple times. When you build a new playground, go down the site, check it out, make sure it works for everybody. You get to laugh with your coworkers. Kimberly does a great job with all of us as a team. She likes to laugh, and she encourages it. So we just have fun doing what we're doing. And I think this is a field where you can have fun. There is work involved. Yes, you are going to have stressed out and sweaty days, but when you're done, at the end of the day, you're still going to laugh and smile. It just feels good. If you want to feel good, this is the field to go into.
Fantastic. Right now, how about as far as working? Shout out to Henry County, Georgia. They do a thing called a watering can where they bring high school kids into the maintenance side. Any specific testimony to, I guess, guys that just, like you said, want to work outside, kind of like y'all are, and make our parks beautiful?
The city had a program. It was an apprenticeship program with the high school with kids with special needs, and they worked with us a lot. They worked with other departments, but we had quite a few students from that program come with us, and they flourished. They really, you could see night and day from day one when they started to when the program was over. We still currently employ one of those kids who came from that program. He's on our ball field crew. But we made friendships through that as well. They want to come back and work with us. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But it was a great program, and it kind of shows them they have siblings, they have friends. they see what they're doing, they're having fun, and it's more like, well, I want to do that too. So now we have more interest of people trying to come in and do the stuff.
Oh, love it.
And Jared's downplaying that a little bit. Like, that was a pilot program in the country for apprenticeship programs and municipal work. And like, Jared's crew had the one graduate from our community on it. It was a pretty big deal in our area.
Wow. Congratulations, Jared.
Thank you. Thank you.
Kimberly, what's your testimony to these high school and college kids that don't know what they want to do with their life? Not that every high school and college kid knows exactly what they want to do with their life, but for those that don't.
I would, I'd play off of what Jared said. Like, there is a tangible effect that you can see that you're doing that's a good thing in the community. I like the events. I like when we do events and I can see people actually enjoying all the work that we've put into it, because nobody understands that it takes, almost a full year to make a big community event, to organize everything, get all the partners involved. But it's very collaborative work. So you're going to be working with other people, and then, you're going to be working with the public too. So I would emphasize that. And, there's a lot of good things that come with that. And just to be able to, help your community and feel like a part of your community. It is, you have the opportunity to not just sit behind a desk all the time. I do a lot of desk sitting, a part of my job, but getting out and seeing what there is to do and being able to be creative and try new things, I think that is a huge plus. I've got a kid who's going to go to college next year, hopefully. And, trying to talk to him about what's important, the things that maybe, as an 18-year-old kid, you're not going to be thinking about. Like, do you want some flexibility in your job? Do you want, to work for a public sector? Do you want to work for a private sector? Do you, all these things that I probably wouldn't have thought of as an 18-year-old kid either. I thought, like the top 5 things that everybody thinks. And so just experiencing it and giving it a try. Like, try it for a summer, try a pilot program like that and see if it is something that you like, because if it is something that you like, then you have a direction. If it isn't, then you at least have a direction too, that you will not be going that way. Like, and we're municipal park and rec, one sector of it. There's state level, there's federal level, and then there's even like private, as far as, there could be indoor aquatics or amusement parks or things like that are commercially run recreation facilities that have some similar aspects to us, but completely different ballgame.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. Okay, so last tradition is my previous guest left y'all a question, and then you can leave a question for the next guest. And so this comes from Doug Damery. He's actually in Normal, Illinois. This is the first time I've had 2 states back to back from the same.
Doug.
Oh, you know Doug?
I was on the state board with Doug 10 years ago.
Yeah, he was episode 228, and then y'all are episode 230, but I had a different show. So, but yeah, he was the leadership series, which is what y'all are on right now. So the question Doug left y'all is, what do you think is the best way? And y'all kind of answered this a little bit, but what do you think is the best way to reach out to high school and college kids to bring them closer to Parks and Recreation?
I would say give them the experience, give them the opportunity. That's a hard age to program for. So like, we're not reaching them necessarily with organized sports because they're in high school sports or they're in different kind of organized sports, but all the lifeguards that work for us in the summer, Jared's part-time maintenance staff, having that level of exposure. We tried internship programs in the beginning, but I don't think we were well established enough to have a good internship program. But that's going to be something that we're going to want to look into again, so we can, give people that opportunity to either figure out that this is what they want or it's not what they want.
Jared, you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, it's the same thing. We've had a lot of former baseball players come work for us part-time, and you get to work on the ball field. So I hear your complaints when you play on the field. So now it's your job to make it right. So just kind of prove to them it's not as simple as what most people may think. So do you want to put in the work to make it right, or do you just want somebody else to do it? So some stick around, some just say, no, I'll let you guys do it. I won't complain anymore.
Yeah. Either way, fixed problem.
Yeah.
Okay, so what question would y'all like to leave for my next guest? Any thoughts?
What's your favorite color? No, don't do that.
What we had one that was if you were a playground piece of equipment, what would it be and why? I thought that was a fun one.
Yeah.
Hopefully not a slide you get stuck in.
Yeah.
No, don't do that. Go ahead, Kimberly.
I would ask like creative ways to, well, we're municipal, so like establishing our value to the city leaders. Why is it important to invest in parks and recreation? How do you get that message across?
Any what would be your answer to that question? Since I know you really had to create value too.
You touched on it earlier. It was like, how long did you guys get to just keep spending money until they finally said, whoa, whoa, whoa? And that's where it's like, no, you need to see the initial benefits and the secondary benefits of this. And it's not, we're not going to be huge tourism drivers. Like people are going to go see the St. Louis Arch, of course, and they may end up staying in Collinsville and visiting our parks and that kind of thing. We have a couple of those, like you said, our sports complex. We had some tournaments in the beginning at the sports complex, and the farm is so unique that it brings people in from, I would say, regionally. Nobody's going to travel across the country to see that. But again, if secondary recreation, those kind of things, if you're in the area, focusing on like the tourism dollars, that's how we're budgeted. Like the property taxes that fund the city, they mostly covered like police and fire pension. They're not covering what we do. They're not covering our salaries. Like those tax dollars are generated by home rule sales tax and food and beverage tax and hotel motel tax.
Fantastic. That's a good answer. Okay, well, guys, thank y'all so much for coming on the show today, and especially since y'all, 25,000 people. I think that's correct in your city. So small to medium-sized city, from the ground up, from ashes to a great team. And I think that these are the kind of stories I really want to capture, not just the end of the line champion success stories, but let's talk about the journey.
We're in the chugging along part of the story right now.
Absolutely. Yeah, well, keep it up, guys. I know everyone in your community must really appreciate the work that y'all are doing, and thank y'all for coming and share that story with us here at the Daily Parks and Rec Show. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
Yep. Have a great day, guys. Thank you.
You too.
All right. Bye. Okay, so wow, that was a great story, and that's the kind of stuff I really want to capture. Is not just the biggest park and rec department with the biggest budget that's gold award winning. I mean, yes, we do have those, but sometimes what about the rest of us 10,000 parks and rec departments that are in some, version of trying to pull themselves up, develop something from nothing? And I think Jared and Kimberly are just great examples of parks and rec professionals that are in that stage of their journey. And hopefully, yes, they might get one day to be the next gold level award winner, but that's just not where they started. And they took on the task of bringing their community a functioning, thriving Parks and Rec department. And I loved having both the director and the superintendent, because you get to see both sides. Sometimes it's difficult to have just the superintendent or someone in maintenance on there, which we see on our maintenance show. And then sometimes it's just the director, but I like how they're both working together, similar to how we see in Henry County, Georgia, the Rec Room show that we help co-create and host. You get to see the whole team dynamic and how they work together hand in hand to really build a Parks and Rec department like you see over there in Collinsville, Illinois. So I appreciate y'all coming on today. Thank you, Kimberly. Thank you, Jared. Love the work you guys are doing. Okay, so we do have some, just continuing with the announcements. We are attending Georgia, Kentucky, Louisiana, Mississippi, California, going to NRPA. I probably have a few slots for next year that we would like to attend a few more in-person Parks and Rec Parks and Rec Association, State Association's annual event. We don't have unlimited bandwidth yet. As our media company grows, we'll get more bandwidth, and I'll get my camera crew and that kind of stuff, mobile more, so that we can hopefully next year be able to start attending, maybe by the end of next year, half of maybe even all, depending on how quickly we can scale this thing up. But if you're interested in getting the Daily Parks and Rec Show, DPR's media company, to air live from your state event, just have your executive director, whoever, reach out to me and let's start the conversation. Maybe not the very next one coming up. Maybe it's too late for that, but maybe the following year. We would like to get into those conversations. I think we're on schedule to attend about 12 within the next 12 months. So we do have a little more bandwidth for others. And we will be attending NRPA. We are going to have a Tuesday event, 4 to 6. We haven't picked the location yet. There is a little sports bar right across from the main convention center. And then we'll have coffee Wednesday morning sometime, probably like 7 to 9 or something like that. So if you see us, if you see me, if you see Aaron, if you see Sherry, anybody else out there, please reach out to us. Come by, say hello. If you're up to it, come record 5 or 10 minutes going live with us from the convention. We'd love to get your feedback. I'd like to meet y'all. And so I know a lot of y'all are going to be there. So hopefully I can see y'all there and meet and connect in person. But love what y'all are doing. Thank y'all for so much for the support of creating the Daily Parks and Rec Show. We're going to keep at it. And we do have some exciting news coming out that we just landed in the last couple days, but let me shore it up a little. And I think in next week, we're going to have a super exciting announcement to make here in the next couple of weeks. So, all right, this is Craig LeBlanc signing off, the doorman. Stay tuned. In about 15, 20 minutes, we will be starting the Youth Sports Mastery Show. And so see y'all in a second. Thank you guys. Bye.
Welcome to DPRS Media Co., the first media company built for the people behind the Parks and Rec community. We don't just cover on Parks and Rec, we elevate it, we amplify it, we honor it. At the heart of everything we do is one mission: to serve the public servants, the professionals who design, maintain, and lead the parks that shape our communities. Under the Daily Parks and Rec Show, we produce 6 powerful platforms. Leadership in Parks and Rec, a spotlight on directors, superintendents, and visionaries shaping the future of public spaces. Facility maintenance, where the boots hit the ground, a deep dive into the systems, crews, and craftsmanship that keep our parks clean, safe, and beautiful. Young Professionals Network, shining a light on the next generation of Parks and Rec. Students, interns, and mentors sharing how we build a legacy together. Youth Sports Mastery, sponsored by National Academy of Athletics. This series is for coaches, parents, and rec leaders working to make youth sports fun, fair, and meaningful again. The Rec Room, hosted by the passionate leaders of Henry County Parks and Rec. This show brings frontline energy and real-life stories from the field. And the weekly Parks and Rec Post, our official newsletter delivering stories, insights, and community wins every week. We are DPRS Media Co., LLC, a media company with a mission to uplift the professionals who serve every community, every park, every day.